Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another game review. Today I'm looking at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle on the Xbox Series S. To say this is one of my most anticipated games is a little bit of an understatement. I grew up with the Indiana Jones films. I went to the cinema to see all of them when I was young. I'm a huge fan of the franchise, and I've played many of the Indiana Jones games over the years. So I've been closely following this one up until its release. It's free to play on Game Pass. If you've got Game Pass, it's worth saying that right away. And what is this game all about? Well, it's a traditional Indiana Jones adventure, but it's done from a first-person perspective, which, when I initially learned about that, I was less excited. I would have, at the time, preferred a more like Uncharted approach from the third person. That's not what you get here. It's from the first person, and you do get to see it from a third person occasionally, like when Indy's climbing or swinging using his whip, things like that. But it is 90% of it from the first-person perspective. Honestly, after playing the game, I don't have an issue with that at all. I think it absolutely helps with the immersion. And the story here revolves around Indy, who, after the first introduction level of the game, which is what you're seeing here, this is where Indy has a flashback to the opening scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Once that bit's over, you wake up, you're at the college, and something of importance is stolen from the college from a giant, and Indy goes on a quest, an adventure all over the globe to find out what is going on and to kind of track down the Great Circle. So, where do you start with this one? Mainly to say that this is just a really, really fabulous game. I have absolutely loved this game so much. I think it has been made with such care, with such respect for the Indiana Jones franchise. I mean, Troy Baker absolutely nails the Indiana Jones voiceover here, the Harrison Ford voiceover. He is so good. At times you can't really differentiate between him and Harrison Ford. It's a great reimagining of the Indiana Jones voice, and it works beautifully. The game consists of you initially traveling around some more linear levels or some quite semi-open world levels to kind of complete quests, solve puzzles, wear disguises. I mean, it's really nicely put together. The first one, you end up in Rome, and a good few hours of the game you're essentially disguised as a priest running around the Vatican trying to figure out what has happened to your lost cat mummy that was stolen back in America. You meet the villain there, you meet your companion there, you solve lots of puzzles, you do lots of like dungeon crawling. I mean, it's just a great start to the game. And from there you kind of go on all over to different places like Himalayas, so on and so forth. And it just nails the atmosphere of the Indiana Jones franchise beautifully, right down to the music, which is just incredible. The voice acting is amongst the best I've ever heard in a game. The visuals on the game are absolutely stunning, and this is me playing it on an Xbox Series S. Now, obviously, they're going to raise some differences here for those of you who want to play this, obviously, on PC or the Xbox Series S's more powerful big brother. They're going to play smoother. They're going to, have more graphical clarity, all that kind of stuff. The reason I bought the Xbox Series S is for games like this and Starfield and things like that you couldn't get on PlayStation. Now, this is actually getting a PlayStation release next year, but I didn't want to wait. I wanted to play this one, and that was the reason I got the Xbox Series S. And I think the Series S is designed for people like me, for gamers like me, that generally mostly play PlayStation, but there is an occasional game that comes out on Xbox that I want to play, and this is definitely one of them. So, I mean, obviously, like I say, it's not as powerful graphically and everything. There is a couple of glitches here and there, but it is very, very playable. I've not had any major issues at all on the Xbox Series S. The combat here is done very, very well. Most of the time, it's fisticuffs. You get the classic Indiana Jones punch noises. You can pick up many things in the environment to attack your enemies with, like shovels, rakes, truncheons. I mean, you name it. You can bottles, smashing them over the head, and you can generally stealth your way around levels, taking out enemies, or you can go at it a little bit more. Bull in a china shop, if you want that kind of approach, but sometimes you just get completely swarmed by enemies, so it makes sense for the most part to kind of stealth your way through the levels. Now, I'm not a stealth fan in regards to games, but it never really feels like it's overly intrusive here. It feels like it's actually true to the character of Indiana Jones, because he wouldn't just go in head first. He would try and be smart about it, Indiana Jones. The levels, the puzzles in the levels are done to a decent level here. None of them are absolutely brain-bending ones. There are a couple here and there that I had to kind of look up. But beyond that, they're not going to be massively taxing. Some people have complained about that. Why make them so difficult that people are just going to struggle to do them? You know, you want to make them fairly accessible, the puzzles in the levels. And I don't really mind the puzzles at all. I think they're done just at the right level here. You do have your pistol here, but the gunplay in this game is minimal at best. You can choose to use guns in this game, but you will probably genuinely regret it if you do, because all the enemies will essentially use their guns against you. A lot of people have complained about the AI of the enemies here, and while I do agree they are pretty dumb, honestly, it didn't really spoil my enjoyment of the game, because I was just in awe. The fact that I was playing such a beautifully made Indiana Jones game, just wandering around the levels and doing what I want to do. I don't want it to be too difficult. I don't want it to be too arduous. So I didn't really mind the enemy AI too much, but I understand some of the complaints about that. But for me, it does deliver real moments of excitement and nostalgia, and design choices I think are really, really cool here. For me, it's an absolutely fantastic Indiana Jones imagining. I mean, I've played so many of the Indiana Jones games before. This one feels so cinematic, so on the nose. For me, it just gave me goosebumps at times playing it. It's just made so beautifully. Yes, you could argue there are some flaws here and there, but for me, my enjoyment here far, far outweighed any of the issues that I had with this game. It felt like I was playing this game constantly with a big, big smile on my face. And this is a massive contender for Game of the Year for me. Is it perfect? No, I don't expect games to be perfect, but they absolutely delivered the perfect Indiana Jones adventure from my perspective. So thanks for watching, everybody.